Okay, we're back with Tehya. Hopefully this is going to be a short little video right here because my goal is to get her haltered pretty quick and take her into the indoor. But as one of the principles of training says, work with the horse you have today. So we will see what she gives me today. Hoping this halter fits her. I don't know if I've used this on her before. Might be a little bit small, but that's what I grabbed, so we'll see. Okay. Hey girl. This is better. One with her. When she comes back to center, then I'll release. I'm not going to release while she's hiding her face over here like this. There. And once she gets back to center, I'll back away. It's pretty good. This is such a difference from like 2 or 3 days ago. It's really cool to see. I don't know what exactly changed in her this quickly, but hey, I'll take it. So for me, what I would like to have from her before I plan on taking her into the indoor, which isn't very far away, but you know, these Mustangs, a lot of times, every horse can do this, but if you find the Mustangs do it more than other horses, sometimes they'll just kind of get into that panic mode, and if they get turned away from you and get some leverage, they'll just pull the rope out of your hand and take off, and I don't really want to be chasing her down over 40 acres out here. So the things that I need to make sure she can do before I feel safe taking her out of this pen and leading her in there is lateral flexion, so that if she does get off to the side like this and I'm pulling on the rope, that I know she'll come with me. So I'm going to come up here, pick up on the rope here, and have her flex over like that. Now it's pretty horrible lateral flexion, but at least she's doing it. Right now, all I really care about is the fact that she's given to the halter. You can see she has a lot of tension in that neck, and that flexion's pretty terrible, but at least she did give to it. That's a little bit better. Try it on the other side. Ooh. So you see how she's moving her feet rather than loosening up her neck. That's a little bit better. And I'll keep working on all this in the indoor. Like I say, right now I just have to know that even when we get into a situation that might be scary for her, like going through the doors into the indoor, she's probably never been in an indoor before, I have to know that she'll keep her mind and remember to go with the halter rather than getting scared and running off. You can see that's pretty terrible lateral flexion. She's kind of trying, but she's kind of tipping the top of her head over towards me instead of actually giving and bending at the pole and bending all the way through her neck. And I don't know if she's ever had this done with her before. But this needs to get way, way, way better before we ride her, obviously. Well, I assume it's obvious. I'll explain in case Hillary, you probably know, but for people watching this video, so that lateral flexion, that's your safety brake. That's like your emergency brake in your car. If everything goes to crap while you're riding, you have to be able to reach down and bend their head around, because that's what's, if they do go to bucking or running off or doing whatever, if you pull back on both reins, they can just stick their neck into it and just keep on going and do whatever they're going to do. But if you get them bent around and they respect that rein enough to bend, then they might still kind of do some stuff running in a circle, but you're basically taking half their body away. And putting that bend in their body automatically causes them to relax a little bit and just basically takes away their ability to do anything really bad. So that's one reason it's important to be able to get that bend before I start riding her. Also, there's just a lot of body control parts that revolve around that lateral flexion. That's going to play into getting her to pick up her shoulders, getting her to drive up her hips underneath her. All that stuff starts from the lateral flexion. So here she kind of started just sliding off to the, let's see, it would have been, she slid off to her right. And so I'm kind of leading her in this small left-hand circle right there. I'm waiting for those front feet to slide back to her left. Okay, I'm going to do just a little bit of groundwork out here and just make sure that works, because if she loses her mind on the way into the indoor, I'm going to have to rely on groundwork to get her mind back. So I want to make sure that works. Sorry, I've been a little sick the last couple days, so my voice is a little off. Keep going, girl. I love how much she's paying attention and she wants to do the right thing. That's really good. She's just still a little bit too uptight about everything. She just needs to relax a little bit. But she's getting there. That focus and that willingness to play the game is the first piece of it. Oh, she had it right, but then there we go. Good. You can see I barely have put any pressure on this lead rope since I started the groundwork here. This lead rope really has barely come tight the entire time. That's the importance of doing all that groundwork we did without the lead rope on. You can see she's in a nice bend into the circle with her head in towards me, her shoulder away from me, her hip in a little bit. So she's straight to the circle, as the dressage people would say. And she's doing that all on her own. I'm not having to really pull her head in with this lead rope. She got a little confused there. I was asking her to trot, and she thought I was going the other direction. So what I'm kind of working on here is when I pick up just a little bit on that lead rope and get her head just to bend in a little bit more to the inside, you see it's almost like slamming on the brake. When she trots, she tends to be very stiff in her neck. And then when I pick up and I put a little bend in her neck, then she comes down to a walk. So I'm asking her to trot and keep a little bit of bend in her neck at the same time. Right there, that was nice. Better. Go ahead and let her slow down. I'd actually like her to walk here. So she keeps trying to go back the other direction. And this is not stuff that I have to have perfect before I go to the indoor. We can start heading over there and work on more of this, but I'd like her to give that direction a little bit more. That was actually better right there. There we go. There she slowed down to a walk. Didn't try to reverse direction. Go ahead and ask her to stop. Close. Better. So I don't know if you could see her back foot in the camera, but she didn't quite step all the way under, but she kind of half stepped under. So it's all right. Might just wait for her looking at you here. There it is. That was easy. Head's still a little higher than I would like, but there we go. So I think I'll go ahead and take her into the indoor. And then I will, I'm going to go ahead. I think what I'll do is I'll move the camera, then I'll lead her in there, and then I'll turn the camera. That way, as soon as we get into the indoor, I can hit the camera and you'll get to see everything. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and turn off the camera now. All right, so we're in the indoor now, and I was actually really happy she led in here quite nicely. She's not too freaked out, just normal Tehya. I'm gonna leave this pointed as much to the center as I can. Hopefully you'll be able to see most of what happens here with this set. I'm gonna move it like that. There we go. Okay, so my plan now while I'm in the indoor is pretty simple. So I'm looking, and I think I talked about this before. Oh, my lunch whip's inside there. I'm looking for 2 licks and chews. So this is kind of a protocol I go through with every horse. And I want them to be proficient at this in the indoor before I move on to anything else. So really everything I've done with her has been trying to get her into this environment. Hi. Yeah, you're being nice and friendly and attentive. Okay, so my goal here is to get those 2 licks and chews. The first lick and chew is when she's just standing and watching me. So like right there, that's a good lick and a chew. And I'll even take that as the first one. Second one's gonna be a little more difficult though. The second one, I need to walk over to the fence and have her stay standing here and not follow me. And I'll talk about that in a second. When I walk away, most likely she's gonna follow me, and I'm just gonna go ahead and send her to work. And she follows me, so I'm gonna go ahead and send her. She goes the wrong way. She's gonna keep the pressure on until she goes the correct way. No big deal. I don't want this to be a huge scary thing for her. Now she needs to keep going, because I already asked her to go that direction. So I'm gonna keep the pressure on until she goes where she's supposed to go. There we go. Okay, you might be asking, well, why don't you want her to follow you around? Usually, a lot of people want their horses to follow them around, and they call it hooking on and whatnot. I don't like to have the horse need to be by my side. If you want to train your horse a cue to follow you, okay, fine, whatever, you can train it to do that. But if your horse is just following you, especially a horse like her that has so much anxiety anyway, if your horse is following you, it's likely because it feels codependent on you. And it feels like it can't be comfortable and confident standing where it is. It needs to be going with you. I'm going to go and ask her to stop here. Now, she didn't catch that at all, so it's okay. I'm going to send her the other direction. Pressure until she catches this cue. She's going the wrong way. She turns her butt to me, a lot more pressure. Okay. I love how in here they can really open up and actually kind of get moving. So yeah, that's why I like doing this 2 lick and chew thing. I want to teach them to stand there, and I'm not forcing them to stand there, right? I'm just saying, hey, I'm going to give you the opportunity to just stand in one spot and be relaxed. Okay, she didn't catch that cue. So I'm going to send her the other direction, and then she goes. Pressure off. Okay, I didn't ask her to stop. She stopped on her own. So I love that she's looking for a place to stop, right? But she needs to stop when I offer her a stop. So I've offered her a stop like this, right there. But she didn't quite take it, so I'll send her the other direction. See, when I offer her stop, she doesn't want to take it, or she doesn't notice that I'm offering it. But then she keeps looking to the outside and going, ooh, can I stop at this gate? Ooh, can I stop at this point? And every time she does that, I'm adding some pressure and saying, no, you can't stop there. No, you can't stop there. But, oh, hey, if you want to stop, you can stop when I ask you to. But you have to do it being focused, bending around, stepping through with your hind end, facing up to me. Perfect. Now, if she wants to stop and rest, she can stand there just about as long as she wants to. That was a good first lick and a chew. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just walk over to the fence. And we'll see if she wants to take that chance or take that opportunity to just relax. I think I just turned on my noise canceling mode on my microphone. Okay, she feels like she needs to walk off, so we'll just go right back to work. I'm never going to tell her you can't move your feet, but I am going to tell her if you want to move your feet, you got to do it in the direction and the speed that I want you to do it at. Good. Keep going. She thought about turning away, and she realized that probably was going to be a bad idea, so she turned towards me, and I didn't have to put any pressure on her. That was excellent. Good. Good. Very nice. Beautiful. That's probably the best. That right there is probably the best she's faced up to me. So you can see she's looking out that door back to the other horses behind the camera there. And you can see she's kind of off balance when she does that. I'm not going to tell her not to do that. I'm not going to be like demand her attention back or send her off or anything because of that. I'm just going to wait. And you can see when I shift my weight there, she brings her attention back anyway. But I wasn't trying to do that. If her attention is on those other horses out that door long enough and hard enough, her body will follow and she would just walk over to that door. If she acted on that loss of attention, then I would go ahead and send her to work. But I'm going to wait for her to make the mistake. If I was to demand her attention back, I would basically be not allowing her to make the mistake. And one of the principles with horses is you have to allow them to make the mistake and then make that more difficult versus just constantly babysitting them and not letting them ever make a mistake. And there she acts. So that was the same thing. She was always thinking about going over to those horses at the door the whole time. And when she finally lost interest in me and was like, oh, I know what I can do. I can just walk around wherever I want to go. She went beeline for that gate. So I just put her back to work. Obviously sent her in the opposite direction. Now that time she watched me and that asked to stop. She knew I was asking her to stop right there. And she just said, no, I don't want to. I know what's best. I'm just going to keep going. So we're getting a little bit into her stubbornness now. I don't think she's so much scared anymore. I think she's more acting out of stubbornness now. But it's no big deal. We do the same thing no matter what. It's just interesting. I was a little out of position there. I didn't really get enough pressure on her when she turned her butt to me, but no big deal. Better. She really caught that stop right there. I love it. Interesting. She thought about walking off, kind of like she did earlier. Her weight shifted. There she actually walked off. And she knew I was going to put her to work as soon as she walked off. And there's a lick and chew. She's like, oh yeah, I know. But again, the reason she moved her feet is because there's anxiety in there. I mean, you can see just looking at this horse, she still has a ton of anxiety. And I'm giving her these opportunities to stand still. But after a certain amount of time of standing still, that anxiety just boils up, and she doesn't have any outlet for it. And she just feels the need to walk around because, again, horses flee. The horse's first line of defense is fleeing from predators. So as that anxiety builds up, she goes, I don't know where I'm going, but I got to go somewhere. And so right now she's walking in towards me usually. Well, earlier she was walking to the gate to where she could see the other horses. Or she's walking in towards me, one of the two. But it doesn't matter where she's walking. The point is, I want her comfortable and confident just standing where we put her, just right there. Wherever she ends up, just stand there, comfortable and confident until there's a reason to move. But again, just like a spouse, I can't tell her, relax right now. I can only, and she chooses to walk off, so I'm going to send her the opposite direction. Keeping pressure. I can only put her in a situation where she has the opportunity to relax. I can't force her to relax. You can see how she's getting a little more worked up here because part of her brain is telling her to relax, and the other part is, are you kidding me? We can't relax. I'm an animal of prey in a new environment. There's no other horses around. I can't relax. And so there's this conflict happening in her brain, and that's why she's, keep going. That's why she's getting a little bit worked up here, because she has that mental conflict going. Good. Asked her to stop, and she didn't. Instead, she turned the opposite direction. She's not a terrible mover. Kind of cool to see her moving out and getting into that lope. She stops a lot better on that side than she does on the other side. I don't know if you've noticed that watching it, but I've definitely noticed it as I'm working her. When I'm in her left eye, if she's heading to my right, she stops real good. If she's heading to my left, she rarely catches the stop. So. All right, so we're back in that unstable state. So I'm just giving her this opportunity to relax. She can take it, or let's see, the last couple times she's walked off after a couple of minutes. And none of those times ended very well for her because she had to do a lot more work, and she just ended up standing back in the same spot anyway. So let's see what she chooses this time. She's obviously pretty nervous about these doors. They make some noise when the wind blows over them. But I'm okay with her being a little nervous right now, as long as her feet don't move. She needs to learn, even if she gets nervous about something, don't act on it. And then when she mentally controls her own body through those fears, then she'll essentially conquer those fears, and she'll actually relax. Okay, she feels the need to move. Send her the opposite direction. Didn't really catch the stop. Just starts going the wrong way. There. And this is pretty normal, by the way, for first day in here. This is quite normal. She's actually doing really good for first day, so it'll probably take 3 or 4 days of this before she really just kind of figures out the game. And so she's kind of getting stuck on that fence line over there, just wanting to look out the window and look out the other way. She's looking for answers, which is great. Problem is she's looking for answers in all the wrong places. As long as she's just moving out forward, there's not going to be pressure. But when she slows down, either tries to come into the middle, or when she starts looking out to the outside, then I get bigger with the whip. It churns around that way and get big, get big. Eventually she'll figure out that's kind of a stupid thing to do. She's looking to the outside, not thinking anything about in here, so that's why I'm getting bigger with this whip. There. When she gets over in that corner, actually kind of around the whole circle, she's just kind of forgetting that I exist. You know, she's just sort of looking to the outside, like right there. She has no idea that I'm even here. And so that's why I'm getting pretty big with the whip there. Okay, I'm gonna go and give her an opportunity to stop here. Good. She didn't stop perfect, but she did come to a stop. So I'll take that. Good. I actually like that. She got a little out of sorts right there, got a little confused, but she knew not to turn her butt to me, so she stopped, she kind of figured everything out. And then at that time, you can see same spot, she didn't even get her body out of position. She just stayed going forward. Very good. I'm going to offer her an opportunity to stop here. Okay, I'll take that. Not bad at all. Later on, I'd like that stop to get a little quicker, but for today, that's great. And she chooses to walk off again, so I'll send her the other way. Took her longer to walk off, but she still did. It's no big deal. Good. She caught that stop much quicker. There's a pretty good lick in the chew. Good. Might just go ahead and walk away and see if she stays. I went ahead and sent her there. I was debating whether or not to send her, but I did because she was so set up. She was so off balance in her setup right there. Could have just waited for looking at you there, but it was obvious when she went the wrong direction. So it was just kind of a gut feeling that I had that she was not balanced and ready to go the correct direction. I'm going to go ahead and ask her to stop there. I love how she's slowing down. Okay, there she caught it. But she didn't face up, so she's not paying attention, so I'm going to go and ask her to go. But she went the wrong way. And she turned her butt to me. So she's kind of getting to a point that a lot of horses get to about now where her brain's a little fried. And she's tired and she's mad and she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to look for other venues, other opportunities. But it's very important to get through that state. What she needs to figure out is that just playing the game is the easiest way out of this. And that when she plays the game, we actually can be done. Because as soon as she figures out this double lick and chew, I'm going to go grab the lead rope, clip it back on her, and take her back to her pen and probably feed her and stuff. So that's what I want her to start to learn after doing this multiple days on end is if she'll just relax and be comfortable and confident standing in her own skin where she is, no matter what I do, then we're done with the session. That's all you got to do. Then we can build on that with everything else. That way, when I sit on her back and I ask her to move forward, I'm just asking her to move forward. I'm not holding her back from doing all the crazy stuff that she would be doing right now if I jumped on her back. You can see at some point that anxiety just rises and rises, and when it bubbles over with her, she has to move her feet and go somewhere. I'm telling you, if you don't deal with that, or if I don't deal with that now, That anxiety is going to bubble over when you're riding her or when you're ponying her, and you're going to have a wreck. She has to learn how to dial all that down and bring that pressure down rather than letting that bubble up. Better. Now she did lick and chew right there, but I think I've talked about this before. That's kind of an up lick and chew. Because that lick and chew happened right as we stopped, I'm going to wait for a second lick and chew here. Or I should say, I'm not going to count that as my first lick and chew. Now that was interesting. Still going to send her to the right here. Good. She caught that scent. I don't know if you could see, but she backed up before she went and walked off. The backing up, I mean, I don't really want her to back up, but it's certainly something different, and it's also giving her more time and distance separation between me and her. So if I do ask her to go somewhere, she has a little bit more time to figure it out and get going, which is really good. Mainly, I just like that she's doing something different, because every other time she just turned and walked off. But this time she kind of backed up and was thinking about stuff and then turned and walked off. So it doesn't seem like much, but that's a significant difference. She thought for a second there. So this is exactly what she needs, and this may take a while, but just like in the square pen back where I've done all the other filming with her where she lives, you know, a lot of times, like when I go in and muck or when I'm going in to start the film or whatever, just as I'm walking in, she just feels this need to spontaneously start running around. It's like, dude, you don't need to do that. Now she's set up to go to the left. She's not very balanced. So I'm going to go ahead and send her to the right. She doesn't catch it. More pressure, and she decides to turn her butt to me. So lots of pressure. I make her go pretty fast there. I like her lope. Her lope's nice. That's going to be fun to ride when we get there. Her trot's pretty nice too. She's actually pretty smooth. And I'll bet today her hip muscles really build from running around in all the sand. I try not to work them too hard the first day in the sand in the indoor, but you know, I haven't really asked her to move very many times. It's really just her walking off and then me responding to that. You know, like right there, she walked off. Okay, fine, we'll go back to work. But I'm not really asking her to work, you know. In fact, the very, very first thing we did in here, I walked out to the center, she walked up to me, and she looked and chewed, and I said, hey, I'll take that as the first lick and chew. She threw dirt on that door and got scared. If she had chosen to just stay there and relax while I walked over to the fence, I would have grabbed the lead rope, put it back on her, taken her back to the pen. So, you know, she's choosing all this work. I'm not coming in here and just running her around. I've had clients before that I'll show up when I used to do mobile training, which I really don't do anymore, but I would show up to their house and they'd say, I got the horse warmed up for you. I went in there and I just ran him around the round pen for a few minutes to get him ready for you. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, why would you ever just run your horse around for no reason? Like, I mean, I get exercising, but while you're exercising, you can be working on their mind, you know? If you're asking them to move their feet, there needs to be a purpose to it. There needs to be, you know, something that you're working towards, not just, oh, I just ran my horse around a bunch, you know? Like, no, that's terrible. Ask her to stop. Yeah, she kind of caught that. I'll take that. A little bit roundabout, but then she chooses to lock off again. Good. See, I'm getting, if you wanted to exercise your horse, let's say, like let's pretend I want to exercise her. She's getting tons of exercise out of this, right? But I'm also getting a ton of work on her mind done. If I just came out here and just ran her around, sure, she might get some exercise, but you're probably going to do detriment to their brain. Because horse's brain is either getting better or worse. It's never staying the same. So if you're not actively making it better and you don't have some, plan, some formula in mind, come on, girl, about, okay, why am I taking the action I'm taking? Why am I asking her to go? Why am I asking her to stop? If you don't know why you're doing all that, then you're probably making them worse. She looked at that and thought about stopping, and then she said, nah, why would I do that? Well, I can answer that question for her, because if you don't, you're going to have to do a lot more work on the back end. See, she's looking over at that gate. She's really more interested in going to that gate than she is in watching me. Good. That's where, not to toot my own horn, but my timing has to be impeccable right there, and it was. When she waffled back and forth between turning towards me and turning away from me 2 or 3 times. And each time she thought about turning towards me, I took the pressure off. And then she kind of turned away from me and I put the pressure on. And then she turned toward me and I took the pressure off. And then finally she went, oh, you're paying attention and you're going to allow me this opportunity to do the right thing and come face you and come through that turn like I'm supposed to? And I said, yeah. And then she did. If I had been now she just turns. If I had just been pressure on the whole time, she just would have continued turning her butt to me and it wouldn't have taken that opportunity. That's a little bit different situation because she intentionally turned away from me already. So she's already supposed to be going the other direction. As soon as she switches eyes like that, I'm going to put the pressure on. Right there. You can see she's trying different things. She's like, well, maybe this will work. Maybe this will work. Like, no, girl, the only thing that works is doing correct groundwork, like we've been doing for the last 3 weeks over in the square pen. Nothing's changed. You didn't get to run the show out there, and you don't get to run the show in here. I'm going to go ahead and ask her to stop. She didn't want to take it. I'm going to ask her to go the other direction. That was a lot better, by the way. That was really good. Okay, I'm going to ask her to stop. Good. Whew, she's getting me out of breath. Pretty soon she's going to realize she thinks that doing that is getting her out of work and that she's just able to turn and run away. And I think that these guys growing up on the open prairie for their whole lives, they just think, and probably stuff they've learned at the Canyon City facility or whatever facility they come from. I'm not sure where these guys, but the Mustang handling facilities, a lot of times those guys are in a big herd. And if that horse just turns and flows back through the herd and goes to the other end of the pen, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get out of being handled. And so these guys really just learn that if they want to get away from the human, they can just turn and leave. And it's worked for them many, many times. And that's why I think Mustangs are so difficult. Not that the Mustang, the horse itself is, it's just that the handling that these guys get is such terrible training for them before they actually go to, somebody like Stephanie or myself. And they're typically older. They've grown out on the prairie doing whatever the hell they want to do, for many years. And then their mind is already a little bit more solidified. And now we try to bring them back and put them in school. And it's just like, it's tough. It takes a lot more time than a really, a nice bloodline colt. That was a pretty decent stop. But we'll get there. It just takes a long time. But she definitely feels like one of her options is to just turn around and leave. Oh, that was nice. Look at that. A lick and a chew and putting her head down. That was beautiful. Oh, really, girl? I don't want to go back to work. She turned the wrong way. Much better stop. And much quicker lick and chew. I'm going to go ahead and just take that one. I really kind of want to be done with her today. I'm getting hot. I need to take off this jacket. Good. She actually went the correct direction. And she turned towards me through the fence there. She didn't turn away from me. Good. I'm really happy with how she's doing in here for the first day in the indoor. I'm not complaining at all. Good. So a horse just whinnied outside. I don't know if you could hear it in the microphone, but that's why her head popped up right there. She heard a horse whinny. And I think every time up till now, if that situation had happened, I think she would have walked off. But you can see she's planted on all 4 feet. She's much more square standing right now. Her head's been lowering quite a bit. I think we kind of made a little bit of a breakthrough right here, actually. She just looks like so much more put together of a horse right here than at any point since we brought her in here. So, I don't know. We may still have to do a few more rounds, but I think she might. Lick and chew right there. Beautiful. There's the number 1. See if I can get to the fence without her following me. You know what? I'll take that for today. Because when I look back, she stopped. She's like, wait, I know I'm not supposed to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and catch her and take her back to her pen, assuming she'll just stand there while I catch her. What I want her to start to realize, and sometimes like that, instead of pointing at her, there we go, good, now I'm just going to back away. So a lot happened there that I didn't really get to talk about. But as we do this groundwork and then I grab this lead rope and I approach her and I catch her and I take her back to her pen a couple of times, she'll start to learn that when I approach her and I'm not pointing one direction or the other, obviously, and I'm not bringing my energy up and waving the whip and everything, that there's no point in going anywhere, and she actually gets led back to her stall and gets to be done for the day. So there's no point in running away from me when I just approach her like this. Good girl. Very good. See, there's a little bit of tenseness left there. Probably not ready to be saddled and ridden just yet. But we're getting there. She learned a lot today. All right. What was I saying about not ready to be saddled and ridden yet? kind of want to do a little bit more desensitizing with her. I'm going to make sure that the camera is still running, and I might stop the video and restart it. Okay. That way, if that last video gets deleted, or if this one runs out of battery and doesn't make it, the other one, lead her over here where the camera can see a little bit. I want to make sure that last video gets recorded, even if this one gets deleted. So. You can see there's a wee bit of tenseness in there. Being sarcastic about that. That was better. So what I'm doing right now is just lateral flexion, but it's not so much about like, yes, her head is over to the side right now, there. But if you, I don't know if you can see it from where the camera is, but if you watch her eye and her ear, her attention was still out there. It wasn't actually all the way over on me. So whenever I pick up that lateral flexion, I'm always going to hold that until they actually nicely, softly bend. But even here, you can see how much softer her neck is as she starts to lower her neck like that, just from that one or two lateral flexions that actually worked pretty well. That was a good one. That last one was the best she's done. She actually loosened up some of the top of her neck as well as the side and got a real nice full flexion with her head down a little bit. That was pretty nice. I'll probably go ahead and be done on that. And every day, I may not film for a couple days because the first day in here is what I really wanted to get filmed. But I'm just going to do that every day until, and see where she is now. This is a pretty decent mental state. You know, it's not perfect because I'm sure if I walked up to her on the side, she'd probably jump to the side and squirm. But so it's not perfect. But this is a pretty decent mental state, right? Standing over there in her own skin, calm and confident, head nice and low, licking and chewing periodically. You know, this is, ears are moving around. She's not locked in anything. She's just kind of here, chilling, right? So this is after, I don't know how long we've been going, after an hour of work. Let's say it took us an hour to get here. I want to do this every day until it takes us very little time to get here, where I can just come in here and she's just at this mental state already. And then I can start saddling, you know, do this whole kind of thing with the saddle on when she gets to this, where she's this good mental state with the saddle on. And, you know, you can tell, like, she can be in a much better mental state than this even. But I'm just saying, we're going to just try to keep pushing every day, get this faster and better. But things I was really happy to see today. This is the first time I'd really gotten her in a big area, especially in soft footing, to really kind of see how she moves. And I actually really like how she trots and lopes, and she's using her body pretty decently. So yeah, I kind of like her from that point of view. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put her up, and we'll probably start on Braveheart here in a second.